Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day. It's like noon. And here in North Carolina. And I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful morning. I miss you, but that's not something right now that we need to worry about. What's important is being grateful that we're here alive to experience life and these wonderful times like Christmas, and really think about the message of these things. You know, Christmas is a message. It isn't, unfortunately, what a lot of people want to put ahead of the message. You know, it's just human nature, and I'm not here to blame people or criticize people for trying to make money and that sort of thing, but and many people, even people, myself included probably, that really believe in Christmas and the Christmas message can be, biased towards putting their own interest ahead of that message at times. Some people all the time, some people some of the time, but and some people probably not at all. But that's being human, and that's part of the message that also, and funny enough, of what Christ was trying to tell everybody. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. Every day you're going to mess up. And part of messing up is putting the wrong message in front of the real message. And that's not just for Christmas, but that's through life in general. And we need to just remind ourselves to put that message of peace and kindness and tolerance and love, forgiveness, and being grateful ahead of all these things that we sometimes, by necessity, put ahead of what really makes the world ultimately a better, more prosperous, and more virtuous and easy place to live in. We can kind of say it in simple terms that we put our primal instincts ahead of our more thoughtful and enlightened elements of human consciousness. So humans are a complex society. We have created all these things around being human, and but the part of our brain that has collectively built those things over time is sort of also the smaller part of our brain. And so we have to keep reminding ourselves back that we've created this very complex society, and now we need to have the rules to live peacefully and in that society, and ultimately it will take much better care of ourselves than being short-sighted, but it's a tough rule. But that's what Jesus Christ was specifically trying to tell everybody, and others have too, but he was here to tell us precisely that killing one another and taking advantage of one another and all these other things is not the way to progress and have a good life. It's a big, important message, and we got to kind of remind ourselves to put that ahead. And I do think that comes, and ultimately, at the end of the day, so all the present shopping's done, and all the angst and things are done. I do think that it comes through, but a lot of people get stressed out during this period of time, and that's evidence that we don't do everything right during this holiday. Lots of more illnesses, more people die. There's lots of things happen that are not really the best that it could be, and that's all evidence that we kind of miss the point a lot. So it's really something. Just keep bringing yourself back to it. It's not that hard to do if you consciously tell yourself that, if you consciously practice and work on bringing yourself back to that message. I mean, it's a very powerful message that Jesus left for us, but it's up to us to kind of keep reminding ourselves about that. And so it's a beautiful time, and but we're human. It's sort of a funny thing, isn't it? It's like the same lesson that Christmas should be reminding us of. It also challenges us to live by that lesson at the very same time. But keep those memories of your childhood near and dear as you grow. The good, be grateful. Just remind yourself, how you set your mindset towards things. That it's your life and your journey. And if you take it all as a cumulative lesson, that you can say, I'm grateful that this was my story, that this was my time, and every little step, good or bad as it felt at the time, was part of this progression of learning to live better. And that's one of the real elements of life, is sort of just trying to live better as you can be. Every person's different. You can't look at another person and say, I'm gonna jump over there and start living their lives. You can take lessons from other people. You can learn from other people, but you're only going to live your life, and your life is only going to play out one certain specific way. And so it's best to set the guide rules of peace and kindness and understanding and wisdom. There's nothing wrong with gaining wisdom. It's one of the core things of the Bible, along with love and forgiveness, is to ask for wisdom and to seek wisdom. It means learning and educating yourself. There's a lot of people who will ironically talk against that as if it's a bad thing. I don't know why, but it's very common. It's unpleasantly common and very bad that so many people in various religions, including Christianity, but all other religions, and even outside of religion, they will not only speak against attaining wisdom, but they will shame people for obtaining wisdom or seeking wisdom. You were given a brain and a consciousness of your own to go out there and learn things and study things and analyze things. And pride is one of these things that, on one hand, people will say, oh, you have to have pride and stuff. But it's also considered this sin for a reason. And it's very simple why. It's called pride stops us from growing. It's as simple as that. We have pride. We've set somewhere along the way, we've set some idea in our head that this is who we are, what we are, or what is right and what is wrong. And simply put, pride will stop us from being able to overanalyze that and change in a new direction, a better direction. And you can understand that your path is open, your mind is free, and you can grow and change and make and redirect things. So you keep perfecting, right? There's a difference between knowing and having a good sense of self-worth and being prideful. And people conflict those two things and confuse those two things. Every human being has value and a worth, but that doesn't mean you have to have overbearing pride to the point that you cannot exchange or accept things. And I know this is seems off topic, but it's not. It's specifically one topic with Christmas, because peace and love and forgiveness require us to be able to gain wisdom and learn and to change our thinking about things, or to help other people see things in a way that will help promote peace without fighting with them or without, dismissing them and their value. The world needs people who can set pride and that sort of thing aside and grow with one another, and people who will pursue wisdom and growth. And as society grows, as there's more people on this planet, and in a town or a city or a country or wherever, then the dynamics of that change. Dynamics mean the way things interact with one another, the way things change. Dynamic means to change. So there has to be some guiding principles, but then there has to be an ability to change, to peacefully change, as the elements of that environment adjust. So at scale, so things, how things can be. And I was trying to think about it like if everything in an environment expands at scale together, meaning, let's say like I don't know, take something really kind of basic like a basketball court. If you put 5 people on each team playing basketball on one court, that court is suitable for playing the game of basketball the way it was designed. But if you tell 20 people to go out there on that basketball court, the people are all the same, but the court hasn't changed. And so if you have to play with 20 people on that court, then you have to be able to somehow adjust the rules of how you're going to play together. Maybe 10 people go out at a time and then another 10 people go out, or you shift them back and forth, or you have a different kind of basketball game that you play. But if you were to then build more basketball courts, then people could do it differently. And so peace and how people interact with one another has everything to do with Christmas, because at the end of the day, Jesus was trying to teach people how to live together with one another in a peaceful way. And then ultimately, if there's a spiritual message to that takes us beyond today and in society. But Merry Christmas. Put the message of Christmas ahead of all the other prideful things that we have in our world, and get intermixed with the commercial part of Christmas, meaning the economics and monetary part of Christmas. But even in the family sense, there's people who very commonly, I don't just mean like a few people, but it's just a common thing that we think that Christmas is supposed to be a certain way for us, for a one individual person. That one individual person will get so caught up in Christmas needing to be about them and what they think Christmas is supposed to be about. They're blind to how it's affecting the others around them. And that's each one of us. It's not like you're picking out one individual over another, but it's kind of the same nature as the commercialization aspect of it. Still put the message. If it's Christmas is supposed to remind us of the message that Christ taught, and just always come back to that. That's before everything else in Christmas, and also throughout the rest of life and the year. But I love you. Merry Christmas. Hold on to your memories. And also, back to that pride thing. When we put pride apart, it really helps us maintain that great imagination and that sense of wonder that we have as when we're young. So you're still little, and you'll be like that still for a while. But if you can do some of these things and learn some of these lessons now, you'll hold on to that special something that's that wonder for life. And there's people who do a really good job of maintaining that through their whole lives. Some people lose it, regretfully, and most people are sort of in the middle of that. The more you can put those things like pride and things aside, and don't develop overbearing pride and that kind of thing, but understanding and wisdom, you can hold on to much more of that wonderful sense of newness and everything that that young people and children just have naturally. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But anyways, Merry Christmas. I love you, and Merry Christmas.